I think we live in quite critical times in many ways. Events are showing that the Middle East, it's a British name, by the way, Middle East, we should call it East Asia or Western Asia or whatever geographic location. Anyway, but the Middle East is proving to be quite a critical region in terms of the regional politics of very important strategic states in the region, and also the entire Arab world, stretching from as far as Algeria in the west to the Gulf and Iraq in the east, a massive region, plus Turkey and Iran bordering the region, and the entire Mediterranean region. So quite a critical area. And the United States, it seems, has underestimated the power of the peoples of the region to change the political map and to shake the status quo very violently and radically. And this is where I think the events in the Middle East today have boiled down to a complete destruction of the previous status quo. So you can talk about pre and post 7 October 2023. You can see it in terms of the fact that Israel has been exposed, that few hundred Palestinians could actually inflict quite a shocking event on the apartheid state. And the fact that the Palestinian people, probably for the first time in many decades, have taken the initiative, and they have refocused attention on the plight of the Palestinian people and their just cause. The entire Arab world is up in arms in terms of the streets. I mean, we see demonstration, obviously massive demonstrations in London and across the world. But in the Arab world, there is an edge to these demonstrations. And this edge is reflected in the new generation of youth who have suddenly rediscovered Palestine, rediscovered the importance of the Palestinian struggle, and importantly, rediscovered that Israel, without US imperialist support, is a state which is very vulnerable, very weak, and it cannot continue occupation and expansion and aggression without US support. This has become so clear. The Arab street is talking in terms of the United States itself running this war, running this battle, and that Israel would not dare take any major decision in relationship to the war without US say-so. And the United States itself, obviously, we all saw how Biden rushed to Israel, how Western leaders, including Rishi Sunak, emerging from a transporter military plane to land in Israel, giving the apartheid state full British support. One other aspect which is important to bear in mind is that Israel on its own cannot possibly subdue the Palestinian people anymore and get away with it. The Palestinian cause has acquired a strategic depth which was lacking in the past because of the betrayal of the Arab regimes. The Palestinian cause is supposed to have had the Arab strategic depth, Arab people's strategic depth surrounding Palestine, but the betrayal of various Arab regimes denied the Palestinian people such a strategic depth. While today they have acquired that depth in the shape of the Lebanese resistance, the Iraqi resistance, and miraculously the Yemeni resistance, which has stood in the face of a most brutal US-inspired Saudi-led war on them for so many years now. The starvation and the siege of Yemen has proven also futile in the face of the Yemeni people's resistance. So this wide alliance, also backed by Iran, friendly to Russia and China, has enormous implications, not only for the region, but worldwide. So this has to be borne in mind, that the Palestinian people are no longer alone, that they have acquired a strategic depth, and this strategic depth is both regional as well as having an international dimension. You can see that that both Russia, China, and all the BRICS countries are calling for an immediate ceasefire, which is both the demand of the Palestinian people and the liberation movements across the Arab world. And that does imply a certain direction into the future, that the Middle East region and the conflicts in the Middle East do have an immediate international impact, international dimension, which strengthens the people's cause across the world, that these demonstrations across the world are also an expression of the yearning for freedom, yearning to oppose oppression, yearning to oppose imperialist domination. So they are not only opposing Israeli aggression and genocidal war, but they are also expressing their own people's struggles against US hegemony and US domination in the world. And that has to be borne in mind. And I think you are absolutely right in referring to the Palestinian cause as a litmus test of people's stance in terms of how progressive they are, how they see the world, are they opposed to imperialism or not? So the Palestine cause has this enormous international dimension. One other aspect which has to be borne in mind, that the war on the Palestinian people is actually beneficial to the creation of a multipolar world. That a multipolar world has become an absolute necessity for the peoples of the world. That the days when the United States is pushing its weight around and bullying the nations of the world are numbered. And the conflict over Gaza and the demand for a free Palestine are directly helping the creation of that multipolar world, focusing attention on the US imperialist aggression, the fact that they use Israel as their advanced military base to not only oppress the Palestinian people, but threaten the entire region. This is, I think, is quite important to note. One other issue that needs to be raised. Often people ask about Hamas and the various Palestinian organizations. Ideologically, I'm not a supporter of Hamas. Historically, I supported other Palestinian organizations, and I still do. But it's important to note that Hamas is a part and parcel of the struggle of the Palestinian people, and it's part of their liberation movement. We might not agree with some of their tactics. We might even oppose some of their tactics. But this is besides the point in terms of recognizing that this movement is a mass movement. It has become an essential part of the Palestinian people's struggle, no matter how much our ideological or political stance might diverge from its ideology and politics. It is definitely a popular movement. It has become more and more popular. It has surpassed its historical origins and so on, and has integrated itself, especially in the last 3 or 4 years, within the axis, within the alliance of anti-imperialist resistance in the region. And it has been adopted by the anti-imperialist movements in the region. Left-wing movements and genuine patriotic and anti-imperialist movements have accepted Hamas as part and parcel of that, even if they disagree with some of its methods. And also a word of warning, all we hear about the 7th of October is the Israeli narrative. And there is no independent international organization that has gone and investigated all these Israeli allegations. And Israel has a very, very long record of spreading lies and anti-Palestinian propaganda. So unless there is some solid evidence, we cannot even pronounce on some of the allegations against the Palestinian resistance. One other point is that within Gaza, the entire spectrum of the Palestinian political scene is engaged in the struggle in Gaza. Nearly every major political movement that is Palestinian has a resistance wing that is active in Gaza and active in the West Bank. And talk about the West Bank, some 170 people have been killed so far by Israel who joined in demonstrations in support of the people of Gaza and their brothers and sisters in Gaza. That was just a side point, if you like, but the main issue here is that the Palestinian struggle is part of a worldwide anti-imperialist movement, and that this movement will also contribute very positively to the creation and defeat of creation of a multipolar world, and hopefully the defeat of US imperialism. Thank you.